That's a boring picture. But take you read it carefully. It's a summary of something very important in the development of subsidized and social housing in Vienna. There are not only competitions for architects, there are teams between construction companies, investors, kind of, housing companies, and architects together to guarantee not only the quality of the architecture, but also the price of the flats, the rent. So this idea that started, let's say, about in the 90s, developed more and more, and it's usually done after an urban design competition if it's about how to develop a neighborhood or how to develop a former brownfield. The jury consists of architects, representatives of the construction sector, and, of course, very important, the city of Vienna. Specialists in the field of ecology, economy, and housing laws, housing regulations. This is working till now quite successful, although we recently see that the results by similar regulations, of course, become similar. And this is also the reason why people start criticizing this system. And there is not yet a better solution proposed how to continue with these problems. Give me an example. So this is a neighborhood. It has an industrial plant in the south. It has a housing construction in the north. Further on, small single-family houses. And it has been strongly influenced by the train tracks in the east. So what we did together with König Lach Architects is to propose an urban master plan. This urban master plan consisted of one construction along the street, a second one along the tracks, and a group of smaller buildings that created different dimensions of courtyards for different uses. So here, for example, we have a kindergarten with playgrounds in front of. Here we have a kind of neighborhood, small children playground, and so on. Usually, these competitions are only partly given to those architects that win the urban design competition. The others go through the process of evaluation that is necessary for subsidized housing, as I explained before. So in this project, I will continue with the contribution of König Lach Architects. You see a structure that is very additive in this long corridor with some storage boxes facing the train tracks, creating courtyards, private green in front of the ground floor apartments, but also semi-public green playgrounds for children, a kindergarten for 3 groups, and a garage underground. This is how the apartments look in the upper floors. All of them have a loggia, all of them have a balcony, and you still see the huge corridor, kind of buffer zone between the train tracks on this side and the green courtyards facing south of the balconies. The balconies facing south. A section, you see the underground garage, the train. This is the corridor. Here are the boxes. And you will soon get an impression how it looks from the outside. Just one more explanation about the apartments. The apartments are quite regulated, so you cannot do whatever you want. A certain size, certain square meters, have to offer a certain amount of sleeping rooms, for example. And what you see here is that every apartment has one bathroom. When you have 2 sleeping rooms, you have separate toilet. But you will never have a suite like, for example, a master bedroom with a bathroom and two other bedrooms sharing a bathroom. So you will only have one bathroom per apartment. This is absolutely not understandable, for example, for Brazilians that usually have for each room their own shower, at least. Yeah. So this is how the project looks outside. These are the storage boxes, fire escape staircase, and the corridor behind the boxes with the glass facade facing the train tracks. That's where we're standing now. It looks like that from inside. You see through the whole building. There is light from above, light from the side, widenings in the corridor to store bicycles or baby cars, whatever you want to place there. Sorry, that was too fast. The facade in the courtyard, always is brise-soleil, sun protection, movable, transparent balcony, different depth of the balcony to offer places where you can also put a table or a lounge chair. And what you can see here is the playground for small children, for let's say babies more or less. And there is the laundry right beside it. So when you use the laundry, you can have an eye on the kids playing in the sand right in front of that. Also in the ground floor, you usually have these kind of meeting rooms, ballrooms, festivity rooms for the community where they can join, where they can have parties together, or even they can rent it out to one of the residents to have a meeting with a bigger family or whatever they cannot do in their apartment. So this was the transformation of an industrial site as the first one with the gasometer bus. But what mostly has been done in Vienna was the transformation of former train stations, as I told before. One of the biggest areas is the Südbahnhof, that's called the Southern Railway Station, which was not exactly the southern, it was the southern and the eastern together. And this was replaced by, you can see it here, by the new main train station. So before, the train stopped here, or stopped here, in a building that joined these two tracks, but you couldn't go through. Now, according to the needs of the European railway system, this is a pass-through train station where you have the trains stopping here, the entrance in the intersection here with the subway access, a more or less business district on the northern side and a huge housing development in the south. This was more or less the master plan. It turned out to be at the end a little bit different, but in general you see that development is quite following the plan. There is a central park, a public park. There is a tramway, kind of light railway system accessing this part. There is a school with kindergarten, a kind of campus situation. And this buildings start looking like some towers in the north, some of even fancy architects like Renzo Piano, this one, overlooking the city skyline. And these are the train tracks that are now connecting east and west in the central station of Vienna. This is an aerial view. You see the roof of the train station, the towers of some of the office buildings. This is the headquarters of the Austrian Railway Company. And this becomes the park, which again brings me back to the topic. It needs time. The trees need time to grow. Even or especially in Europe, they need a lot of time, much faster it works in the Dominican Republic or in the tropical countries. So this is the actual situation. I think this part has been transformed in another proposal. I'm not right sure now about that, but this Roland can explain in detail as he was in charge of this development anyway. So the actual situation is like that. You have a former military bases here from the Austrian Empire, which is now the Museum of History of Military, a park, a museum of modern art, a bank, office building, some hotels, train station, offices here, and a lot of housing going down here and under construction now on the eastern side of the new development. What you can see here is the traditional urban fabric of Vienna, the blocks. Not exactly as rectangular as I showed before, but it's the same system. Very densely built up areas, small apartments, not very luxury or not in a high quality built residential buildings.